Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new episode of Max Talks Box Office. My second episode breaking down this weekend's pretty quiet box office this week here in Hollywood. My name is Max, and welcome back to a brand new video here on Max Talks Movies. My name is Max Dinenberg. Please consider liking the video, subscribing if you like movie reviews, TV show reviews, streaming platform reviews, movie rankings, and box office breakdowns every single Monday. Please consider subscribing and ring the bell for notifications. Also, let me know in your comment section down below. Tell me, did you see a movie in theaters this week? Let me know which movie you saw in theaters. And without further ado, let's break down the box office this week. Before we actually get started with the top 5 box office of the week, the first major story that I want to talk about this week is Fast 9. This movie opened up not in the United States, at $163 million overseas. Now, yes, you're hearing that right. Fast and Furious opened up. By the time you're listening to this video, when I release it, it is May 24th, which is basically a full month before this movie comes out in the United States. Honestly, one of the biggest movies of the summer. One reason why it's a big test for Hollywood is because it's probably the biggest movie of the summer that is an exclusive in-theater movie. You can't see it on a streaming service. It's the normal time in theaters. It's obviously one of the biggest franchises out there. It made $135 of that $1 million of that 163 in China, which has really taken over the box office life coming back here in the United States as well. 6 Chinese films are in the top 10 global box office of the entire year so far. So it shows you the Chinese box office is really doing well. So Fast is already out there. There's a lot of plot leaks, but it's a big story to start off this week. I don't know if people are familiar that Fast and Furious is coming out a full month. It's had some issues with piracy. There's a lot of high definition, full-length features. You can actually see this movie, I guess, online if you search really deep for some piracy, which I'm not doing. I'm saving up for the big theatrical experience in a month. But the fact that this film is opening a month before the United States audiences see it has been a big controversial topic with a lot of films here in the United States because of piracy. Tenet did the very similar thing. So Fast and Furious overall, $163 million over the weekend in overseas, with 135 of that in China. We're going to continue to watch Fastest box office as we continue to get closer to its United States release, June 25th. Now let's break down our top 5 box office of the week. Once again, for the second consecutive week, coming in at number 1 is Spiral from the Book of Saw. This weekend, it took in $4.5 million, which is a 48% drop off from previous week. And its total here domestically is $15.8 million at the box office. This actually, because of this weekend's box office of Spiral, is now pushed the total 9 films of the Saw franchise to a total of $1 billion domestically, a pretty huge accomplishment for a horror franchise. And Saw does it with Spiral's latest installment getting 4.8, and really 15.8 gets it across its way. As I said, for the benchmark, there was no big openings for any movies this week. Actually, no new movies that came out this past weekend opened in the top 5. There were 2 new releases, and those came in the bottom 2 of the week. So no new movies this week. So Spiral comes in number 1. Coming in at number 2, once again, is Wrath of Man. In its 3rd week, it made $2.9 million this week, which is a 21% decrease from last week. And its 3-week domestic total has made $18.8 million at the box office. This film is, again, this and Spiral are films exclusively in theaters. These are the only 2 films out of the top 5 this week that are exclusively in theaters. You can't watch this on a streaming service just yet. So these 2 films are number 1 and 2 exclusively in theaters. Coming in number 3 is a movie we, again, talked about, Those Who Wish Me Dead. That comes in number 3 this week, making $1.8 million at the box office. This film is also total at $5.5 million in its 2-week total. This film has not been doing that great at the box office, even though it has high caliber talent like Angelina Jolie, Nicholas Hoult, Aidan Gillen, and John Bernthal. But because it is also available in HBO Max and it's available in theaters, and a lot of people, including myself, who watched this at home said, you really don't need to watch this in the theater. People listened and really did not see this movie in theaters this weekend. So they're $13.3 million behind Wrath of Man. Wrath of Man obviously is a week ahead, but that is that's a pretty big drop off between those two films. But Those Who Wish Me Dead is coming in number 3. Coming in number 4, we've been talking about this film last week, how impressive this movie is, and that continues. It goes from number 5 to number 4 this week, and that is Raya and the Lost Dragon. Once again, this film is also available on Disney Plus exclusively for $30, and it's now being available to rent on Apple stores and other places. So you can actually rent this film or buy it on other platforms. But it's 3-day totaled up to $1.66 million. Its total is $48.3 million. This film is actually in its 12th week in theaters, and it is coming in at number 4, a pretty big deal, especially because it's in Disney Plus and it's in theaters, which shows us that this could be a big weekend for Cruella, which is coming out this Memorial Day. I'll get to that at the end of this video. And coming in number 5, we've been talking about that anime movie the past couple of weeks, but this time it has been kicked out by Godzilla versus Kong. This film, in its 8th week, made $1.3 million at the box office this week and totals in at $96.9 million, which in its 8th week at the box office. Godzilla versus Kong, I believe, about a couple weeks ago, just left HBO Max. Again, these HBO Max movies are only on the streaming service for a month, 30 days. This film is off the streaming service, has been off the streaming service, but it's been high on the iTunes list, and it is high here, taking out one of the movies we've been talking about the entire time here at the box office. Godzilla versus Kong, movie that I saw in theaters on opening weekend. The fact that it's still doing pretty well, it's clearly the best domestic box office film of the entire year so far in the United States. Now, will that hold up? This weekend should be a big weekend. We have a lot of big movies coming out this summer, but it is just great news to see this film, again, the second HBO Max film on this list, getting into the top 5 this weekend. So that is, I'm going to, again, re-rank these guys for you one more time. I'll put the Spiral picture once again behind me. Spiral coming in at 1st place. Wrath of Man coming in at number 2. Those Who Wish Me Dead coming in number 3. Raya and the Last Dragon number 4. And Godzilla versus Kong number 5. Once again, guys, coming out this weekend, Memorial Day weekend in theaters. We have 2 major film releases. First is Cruella. Cruella will be available on both Disney Plus and in theaters. It'll be only available for Disney Plus for $30 to purchase the film, starting at 3 a.m. Eastern, and the film will also be available in theaters. While A Quiet Place Part 2 is another major release. That film was supposed to come out the week of the pandemic. Then it got pushed to now. A Quiet Place Part 2 will be available in theaters, only in theaters, for the first, I believe, 30 days, and then it will be streaming exclusively with no extra cost on Paramount Plus. So those are the 2 big movies, really starting this weekend, Memorial Day weekend. Every weekend, there's going to be a big movie dropping, so we're going to break it down every week here on Max Talks Box Office. So once again, thank you guys for joining me on this 2nd episode of Max Talks Box Office. Once again, guys, for the 2nd straight week, Spiral coming in at number 1.